Hi, I'm Frank, and thank you to US Classic Muscle Cars channel for allowing the second annual Cars and Cops car show to be a part of their event. The Chicago Police Memorial Foundation benefits from this car show. We honor fallen officers and their families, and catastrophically injured officers and their families, and help to make their days a little bit better. But this car show is about bringing a bunch of people together to enjoy classic cars, and unfortunately the weather isn't as good as it could be, but still here, people are here to show off their cars and support the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, which has given over $9.5 million to families since 2007. So thank you for your support. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please enjoy this next video.
Hi, my name is Marcos Lopez. This is my 1990 Ferrari Testarossa. This is our first car show of the season and of the year. We're hoping to win best in class here for the exotics. So you can see we beat the weather. It was raining earlier today, but it's doing a little better. This is probably one of my favorite examples that Ferrari made. It's a flat 12 rear engine or mid-engine car. After this model, this is a 90 Testarossa, like I said. They made the 512 TR and then a 512M, and then after that came the 550 Maranello, where they moved the engines to the front. It's not a super fast car by today's standards, but it's definitely quick enough. Everybody kind of knows it for the sides. The reason they have that made that way is because it actually has two radiators at the back, and it's a great way to cool the engine. It's probably one of the best aerodynamically designed cars. Has very little resistance to wind, so very fast, very wide. I think it's somewhere around 76 point something inches wide, and also very short. As you can see, it's a short car, so wide and not tall at all.
Is it awkward to get in, or is it?
It is. It's very low. It's hard to get in. This is you have to love to drive this car. It's very rewarding though. It's a very rewarding car. It's a gated shifter, so it's a 5-speed gated shifter. It also doesn't have power steering, so in low speeds it's hard to crank the wheel. You gotta really fight it. But at higher speeds, it acts like a race car. So the faster it goes, the easier it is to turn, the less you have to move the wheel.
And for the people that aren't familiar with the term gated shifter, what does that mean?
Gated shifter is, if you look at it, we'll go inside and look at it. It's the mechanism it's built in, so it's like a gate. So very easy. Ferrari so they did 5-speed, then they did a 6-speed not too long after. Now they no longer do manuals. So hard to get, very coveted. If you get a newer Ferrari now with a manual, they're insanely expensive. They're going up in value like crazy because they don't have them anymore.
How did you choose a Ferrari versus any other make, and how did you choose this model?
Well, so I chose a Ferrari because I love the history of the company. Enzo Ferrari that started it was a race car driver, and if you ever watch any documentaries on him or read books about him, he had very little interest in making street cars. The street cars were made just to pay for racing. So when you look at these cars, they are true race cars. I mean, they were built as race cars, and then this was kind of an aftermath part of it. And great history. They really hold their value if you buy them well. And they're a piece of history. For me, cars are art. So for a lot of people, I know that it gets them from point A to point B, but to me, this is I enjoy this as much as having an expensive painting hanging over my fireplace.
And versus a tattoo.
And versus a tattoo, right?
How's the car to drive?
It's a difficult car to drive. It's not an easy car to drive, but it's, like I said, it's extremely rewarding. I mean, when you look at the stats on these cars, it's not as fast as the newer ones. It doesn't handle as well. It doesn't brake as well. But that's not what driving this car is about. Driving this car is about the total experience, and it's really a pleasure. I mean, for me, you've got to concentrate. I take this out on the weekends and really enjoy getting out there and driving. So maintenance on these is pretty. If you keep up with it, it's manageable, but it's an expensive car to maintain. That's kind of, their values dropped probably 7 years ago. They've been on the rise like crazy as of late, but because the maintenance was so high on them. These cars require an engine out service. It differs, depending when you want to do it, but you have to replace the belts, and with doing that, you have to drop the entire engine out. And it's costly just to do that and switch them all around. Paint, unfortunately, the 80s and 90s Ferraris, they didn't put very, very, very thick paint, but I have it detailed regularly. I try not to wash it, as I try to keep it out of the rain. This is 100% original. There's no clear bra on it, although I'm still considering doing something like that, but this is 100% 28-year-old paint. And also the interior has never been redone, so it's just been conditioned and taken care of. It's starting to show some wear and tear, but that tells the story of the car. So,
Take a look at the interior?
yeah, of course. Keys. So, traditional saddle with chocolate brown interior. As you can see, pretty, for being almost 30 years old, is in pretty good condition. Still smells new. Car's got 20,000 miles on it, and had it since new. So, put all those on. And these cars are really, people always say, I can't believe you drive it, but in reality, driving the Testarossa is a car that's meant to be driven. The less you drive them, it's when you start to have problems with them. You kind of have to keep the engine lubricated and keep all the fluids and everything moving. That's really what keeps this car running as well as it does. Tell me when. Dana knows.
So what do we have going on here?
We got a Ferrari flat 12 with almost 400 horsepower. Really a great engine. The name Testarossa means redhead. So, and as you can see, the engine's painted red.
And with how does it sound inside when you drive this?
It's awesome. So this car is almost 100% original. We actually I put in a Tubi Sport exhaust. The Testarossa, as I like to say, has been hiding a secret, and Ferrari muffled the sound of the flat 12 with the standard exhaust. So I have both the standard exhaust at home, but I put a Tubi exhaust. It really opens up the engine, especially when you're revving at 3,000, 4,000 RPMs. This sounds like a 1980s F1 sports car. I mean, it is absolutely, it's amazing. It's a symphony the way this car sounds. And that's the sound it's supposed to make. So anybody who has a Testarossa, I tell them they absolutely have to get the sport exhaust. You should keep the original for value, but definitely get the sport exhaust for the sound and the experience of it. All right, thank you for letting me show you my Ferrari Testarossa.